What's up guys, welcome back to Grafting Dragonfruit. It's Richard, and in this video today I'm going to show you guys how to make a soil that's similar to Gary's Best topsoil, but it's going to be even more efficient and affordable to make it this way. And today I have a special guest with me. His name is Allan Lee.
Hi everyone.
And this is the soil guru that's going to be helping me teach you guys how to make this soil and explain the whole process, because he just knows way more about soil than I do. If you guys want to learn about dragon fruit, I can teach you guys that all day, but Allan here is going to be teaching me how to make the soil with you guys. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. First off, we're going to go over all of the ingredients and supplies, and we have that laying right in front of us right here, and I'm going to let Allan explain to you guys what we have here, right?
Here we have decomposed granite, a tarp for mixing, and a shovel, and Sunshine 4 mix. That's a very simple mix that is very accessible at a bunch of big box stores and should be able to be found throughout the whole country. And specifically, decomposed granite is just a material that won't degrade. It also will retain water a little bit more than sand. Sunshine 4 mix, and Sunshine 4 mix over here is a mixture that is just mainly peat moss and perlite and mycorrhizae, and all the ingredients that I've listed before are approved by Gary Matsuoko and follow his philosophy of soil for container planting.
So now that you guys know what we all need, it's very simple. You guys literally need two ingredients, which is the decomposed granite and Sunshine 4 mix. And to help you guys mix all of this, of course, you're gonna need a shovel and a tarp, so that way you can just throw everything in the floor. We're gonna do that later, and you guys can see us how we're all gonna do that. All right, so let's talk about decomposed granite and Gary's Best topsoil. I know Gary's Best topsoil has sand majority. He does the, is that peat moss as well? Perlite.
Yes.
And are those like, is there charcoal in there? I think
there's like about 5% charcoal.
Yeah.
He says sometimes it goes up to 10%, but there's the main majority is that he does about 50% peat moss for his soil mixtures that he sells, and the rest of it is mostly pumice or perlite for drainage. And all of these materials are ones that won't degrade and will last for a long time, which is what we're looking for in a permanent soil mixture.
And you guys heard that, right? Allan said permanent soil. All of the soil that we've used before, or I've used before, has been kind of like the ocean forest, where they use basically forest material that's falling on the floor, where they decompose, and then eventually you're just left with roots and everything is gone out there. With this type of soil mixture, it's not going to decompose. They don't shrink. Whatever soil level you guys put in there should retain. If you guys have paying attention with your fox farm, all of those organic matter starts to decompose, and eventually the soil kind of disappears and you're just left with some bare roots, right? And then that's just not cool, because then they get root bounded, or they get so tight and packed to each other. There's no aeration no more, and it just causes them to have damage and decrease in life. They will start to literally die in front of you, but this will keep them thriving. Okay, so now that you guys know what we all have, we all need, let's go ahead and start setting up to get this soil mixture mixed, okay? And as we're doing this, we're gonna explain to you guys all of the scientific data and why we're gonna be using this with Allan's help, okay? So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get that tarp ready. So I'm gonna show them. Okay guys, we have a heavy duty tarp here. This is 8 by 10 feet. And we want to use a heavy duty one because we're going to be mixing, and you can accidentally puncture your tarp with your shovel. So make sure you guys are a little bit careful with that. And if you guys want to store this soil, if you know you're going to use it later or right away, you can just leave it in the tarp and use that for another day. But I really recommend getting like a bin, so that way you can keep it in there to use when you guys need it. All right. Okay, so let's get this tarp set up, Allan. Grab this other two ends. And the color of the tarp does not matter, you guys. I just chose the cheapest and the one that was heavy duty. So feel free to choose your favorite color if you like, but we have brown today, which makes it just looks cleaner because soil is that same color. All right, Allan, so what are we gonna do here? What's first? Do we let the Sunshine 4 mix expand, or do we put the sand and then Sunshine 4 and layer them? What's the best way to do this?
That's honestly a really good question, because a lot of people tend to just dump and think that it doesn't matter. But one thing to notice is when you buy these big bales of Sunshine 4 mix or just peat moss, a lot of it is very compressed, and they'll even label it at the bottom of the bag oftentimes, I don't think this one says it. Or it does, sorry. It says this will expand up to 4.4 cubic foot. So right now it's only 2.2 cubic foot. So this soil is compressed very heavily and tight here, which is not what we want. So we have to break up this soil and we have to fluff it up so that it's not compressed at all.
All right, so guys, yeah, this is 2.2 cubic compressed, but once we open this bag, it's gonna become 4.4 cubic feet. So that's double the size of what this is gonna be. So we open this first.
Yes.
All right, let's go. All right. So this is what Sunshine 4 mix looks like, guys, in this compressed form. It's very nice, light, airy. There's a good amount of perlite in there, and this feels like it can hold some moisture, but not so much where it can drown or make your plants angry. So let's go ahead and break this up.
And a big proportion of why we're using this mixture over a bunch of other mixes that you can find at the big box store is that this one is not using a majority of wood product. So like forest manufactured wood products, things that will decompose in your soil.
Right, so all like that, I was just talking about that with the Ocean Forest, Fox Farm. They use a lot of that forest decomposed material like wood chunks, and just leaves that are dying on the floor. This has none of that, so it's basically and essentially a sterile soil.
Yes.
And that's good because we don't want anything to affect any of our plants, right?
Yes.
All right.
One easy way to explain this that is a big part of the Gary Matsuoka philosophy which is why we're avoiding using compost or wood chips within the soil, is that naturally in nature, where does that go normally? On the top floor of the soil, like your leaves and wood, everything that is easily decomposable goes on the top of the soil where you put your manure and your fertilizer, not in the soil where your roots are, which can decay from the compost.
Right, so it's kind of acting like almost a mulch. Once it falls into the soil floor, it does nothing but just kind of covers everything and causes problems. All right, so I like this soil already. It's just so fluffy feeling, you guys. Nice and airy, it's light, doesn't have no smell to it.
And I can show you how, all you have to do is just break up the soil a little bit and that's it.
And there you have it, guys. We have our Sunshine 4 mix now, all broken up into the amount that we needed to. So yeah, that just doubled the size from the bag just by opening it. Okay, the next thing that goes into the mix is gonna be the decomposed granite. So is there a specific way to do this? Do we open all the bag or one at a time and mix them one at a time?
So for this, we're gonna actually do the math on how much is gonna be the decomposed granite to make it about 50% of the soil mixture. So this is what we're doing that is a little different from Top Pot. Top Pot, that Gary even outlines, is about close to 50% peat moss, but he will even outline for his own container plants at home. He prefers using a 50% decomposed granite or sand, 25% peat moss, and 25% pumice. So he's replacing 25% of the peat moss with more sand decomposed granite because he wants a more permanent soil mixture for himself. That is what he prefers for his own garden, and that's what I like as well. He talks about Top Pot and the difference that we're making for this soil that he actually recommends. And the main difference is going to be that for his soil mixtures that he sells, Top Pot and Acid Mix is close to about 50% peat moss. But the ones that he actually recommends to make at home, we're going to be making it about 50% sand or decomposed granite, and the peat moss is going to stay closer to 25% in the mixture.
Okay, so our Sunshine 4 mixture, what is the percentage of perlite and peat moss is in this already?
So Sunshine 4 mix is a very high draining soil, and so that's why it's close to about 70% peat moss and 30% perlite. And that's why we're going to be using it as half of our mixture, which gives us close to about 30% peat moss and 20% perlite as well. So
guys, to make this easier and for everybody to understand, you basically just need one bag of Sunshine 4 mix, the 2.2 cubic feet one that expands to 4.4, and you're going to need 8 bags of the V-Grow decomposed granite. So those are the only two things you guys need. 8 bags of decomposed granite, 1 bag of Sunshine 4 mix, and that's what we're going to do today. So we have the decomposed granite. Our Sunshine 4 mix is now expanded, so we just mix it now, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so do we put 1 bag at a time and mix it, or do we just dump all of them at the same time and mix it?
I guess that's more up to you, but I kind of like doing one bag at a time and doing a little toss and then doing it again.
I like that way too. Layering them, for me, I feel like it will just mix more evenly, and it's just not so focused of just so much decomposed granite in one area. And it is pretty heavy, so
yeah,
I don't want to be shoveling too much of that, right? So let's start with one bag.
One tip that they also do when mixing big batches of soil is that as you put the soil in, they recommend to water in the soil, because when you water at the end, sometimes the water doesn't spread out as even.
Okay. So that's one bag there. We're gonna do a light mix, and then we'll start dumping each of these bags in one at a time. And let's just take a closer look at this decomposed granite before you mix it, Alan. It kind of feels like sand, but there's like more rocks and granite in there, you would say. And what makes this hold moisture better than sand? I don't know that part, do you?
I honestly don't know why it holds more water than sand, but when you have 2 pots of decomposed granite and sand, and I've tested this out and I've seen multiple different experiments from people like AJ and Grafting, the Graft Man.
Yeah.
But when you water decomposed granite, the water does not just drain through like sand. Sand is way more fine, which just lets the water run through, but this will hold on to the water more because of the texture.
Yeah, because it looks like there is small pieces, big pieces, and really fine grounded up pieces. So I feel like this is almost like dirt, where dirt can kind of hold moisture, but versus sand, it's very grainy. So all of those grains would just fly, the water would just fly through those grains, right? So let's go ahead and do a little mix here, and then we'll throw some more in. And if you guys don't know, I've been spending so much money on Gary's Best Topsoil. They run about $20 a bag, and when you guys buy, I think 5 or 10 bags or more, you get a bit of a discount. I think it's like 10 or 15% discount. This is gonna be a fraction of that cost, and this is gonna make 8 bags. Is that 8 cubic feet?
8 cubic feet.
We're gonna have 8 bags of Gary's Best Topsoil by just making this mixture here. So that can fill up about 6 to 4 of my 25-gallon pots. Okay, we got the first bag mixed in. Here goes the second bag, you guys.
One very nice thing about this soil mixture is actually that decomposed granite is a landscaping material. So oftentimes people within the dragon fruit community will go to landscaping companies, landscaping supply companies where you can buy big bulk decomposed granite, where you can buy truckloads and they'll just put it in the back of your truck and you can take it home for a fraction of the price as well.
So there you guys go. If you guys want to save even more money, find your local landscaping company, ask them if they have decomposed granite, and just buy straight up from them. You can get so much more for the bang of your buck if you go to the landscaping company. So, but if you guys just want to grab the bags, you know where to go. I'll leave all of this in my description, so if you guys have any questions on where to find it, it will be right in there. All right, guys? All right, Alan's popping up a third bag. I'm gonna continue to just keep mixing this and making sure that it's evenly mixed. Oh yeah, I just scooped a whole scoop of decomposed granite, and that was heavy. And Alan even said that decomposed granite is actually lighter than sand. And I definitely experienced that, because before I knew about decomposed granite, I actually bought the all-purpose sand first. And when I was carrying all those all-purpose sand inside my house, it was so heavy compared to the decomposed granite. I don't know why it's so much more heavy, because these are actually rocks and the other is just sand. But if you guys don't have the cement blocks, I can see sand being a good mixture for you guys, because it makes the bottom of your pot heavy so your dragon fruits do not topple over. So pick according to how you're growing your dragon fruit, guys. But we're gonna show you guys how we're doing it here today and what we're gonna be using, all right? All right, this is actually starting to look a lot like Gary's Best Topsoil as we keep on pouring all of these decomposed granite with the Sunshine 4 mix. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, guys, I am a dragon fruit fanatic. I can talk to you guys and tell you guys all about dragon fruit, but when it comes to soil, my knowledge on that is like this. So I'm so happy that Alan is here. He's a young cat that just loves soil. I don't know any young people that likes talking about soil, so it was really cool to actually meet him. I saw him post up him making this soil in my Facebook group. He made a reel about it on his Instagram. We'll add his Instagram So that way, if you guys want to refer to his video or ask him any questions, he will answer them a little better than I can.
And a lot of this is just like re-preaching and following what I've learned from Gary Matsuoka, which is just his philosophy. And we're not saying that like this is the best soil and this is like what you should do, but this is just like what we've learned works for us to make a permanent soil.
Yeah, guys, you know, we're just showing you guys the best way, not the best way, but the most cost efficient, affordable way to make this soil, because, you know, everybody likes to save money, and when you get into a hobby, it can get very expensive. So we're just trying to figure out the best and cheapest way to have this hobby without breaking the bank. And Mr. Allan here is definitely helping me save money for my bank so that my kids can get more toys. All right, we're 7 bags in. 1 more bag to go, and then we'll give this a really good mix in.
One nice ingredient that is in Sunshine 4 mix is mycorrhizae, which mycorrhizae is a fungal inoculant, which pretty much will promote more root growth for your plants. So it's a really good ingredient, especially when transplanting, because it will promote your root growth.
Yeah, guys. So what that does is it's gonna basically help with root shock. If you guys ever transplant pots into a new container in a bigger pot, use some mycorrhizae, because that's gonna prevent it from being in shock where it kind of stunts its growth. Instead of that happening, it's gonna go in there, be very happy, and continue with its vigorous growth, and nothing stops from there. And it also gives the roots very, very good growth where they can really take off, and your roots are just gonna be big root balls just because of the mycorrhizae. Okay, guys. We got 8 bags of decomposed granite in, 1 bag of the Sunshine 4 mix. Now, the next thing to do is just mixing all of our ingredients and making sure that is well combined. So you're gonna see me and Allan here shovel until we are satisfied with how this looks.
One thing that people like to do when mixing soil is they'll spray water on the top so that dust doesn't go up in the air. And it helps spread out the water more evenly as you mix the soil mixture.
Okay, so should we be doing that at this point?
Yeah, we can do a little spray of the water.
Okay, so Allan's gonna get the hose. We're gonna spray some water as he recommends, and then see if that helps us mix the soil a little better.
One bad aspect of this, though, is that the soil does get heavy, so I wouldn't recommend putting too much water in.
Yes, just enough so that way you can get to where you need to be.
So I'm going to be spraying the water as Richard, the man with muscle, is going to be shoveling all the soil.
That's one thing about having muscles, you guys, is you're always going to have to do the heavy work, which I don't mind. I need some exercise anyways. So I can see that if you guys do this on a windy day, all of this can be very hard, and some of this debris can actually fly in your face. So if you guys are doing it on a windy day and you guys have no choice, make sure you guys are just sprinkling some water on that. Compacts everything down so nothing's flying everywhere. So how long are you mixing, and what are you looking for to know that this is completely mixed?
The main thing I'm looking for is a uniform texture. Like once it just looks like it's all one unit and not just broken up pieces, and you can still see like the peat moss from different sections. You really want it all broken up so that it's really evenly mixed well.
And I see that there is more decomposed granite kind of in this area. The peat moss is probably just laying all under there. It's because we have 8 bags just probably sitting in all around this. So we're gonna continue to keep mixing until we're satisfied with how this looks.
This shovel's bending, being honest.
What's that?
The shovel's bending. This one.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to be careful with it.
Yeah. You can do lighter shovels, and I can do the deeper ones. So I have here an aluminum shovel that's bending. So you're gonna need some heavy duty shovels, guys. Make sure you guys have some good shovels like this one that I have in my hand.
As you can see, it bent. So it is a heavy soil. So that is one thing that, like, one of the reasons why Gary makes his top pot that he sells 50% peat moss is for the weight. A lot of people don't want to carry home a big heavy bag of soil, but it oftentimes is just the most permanent soil mixture that you can make at home. So if you can do it at home and save yourself the trip and the energy, it's a lot more efficient.
And that's the main goal, guys, is once you're growing dragon fruit in containers, you want a permanent soil, because if you guys look behind me, they can get easily 3 times as big as you are, and they can easily become 200 to 300 pounds once they're fully mature. So having a permanent soil will prevent you guys from having to come out here and adding soil every time it decomposes, and they're just gonna stay way more happier, and the vigorous growth continues and do not decline after 3 years of being in their pot. You want a permanent soil so that way they can keep going for the next 5 to 10 years. So how does this look? How does this look, Allan?
It looks pretty good. One thing that I like to do, this does get the dust in the air, but I like to shake the tarp up.
Yes.
It gets a lot of the soil mixed up.
Let's show
really
everybody
well.
how you do it, so that way.
So I usually will have like a friend or a partner grab the other side too, and we just mix it in from the edges.
This is a great time to utilize your husbands, your friends, and all the homies that you have with a lot of muscles. Woo! Wow, we did that, you guys, and all of the bottom debris was still decomposed granite, so that was cool. Nice little tip there, Allan, like that. Oh yeah, it's starting to look like almost one whole bag of soil that just came out of a bag, so that's really cool. So now you guys can see everything is very evenly mixed. It looks like one unit. It doesn't look like 2 types of soil being mixed apart, so that's really cool. All right, I think I'm happy with how it's mixed. It looks really even to me, and that's probably it.
Yep.
That's so easy, guys. So now we're gonna take this soil, we're gonna go ahead and pot some cuttings with it, so that way you can see why we made this soil and how we're gonna use it. So let me grab some cuttings, bring some pots over, and use my new soil that I just made. All right. All of our ingredients for our soil is finally mixed, and we are all done. Now that's all that's left is to use it. So I have my graft here. This is a Sunta 5 cross with red Laverne. It actually needed more soil. I had some soil, but it was not enough, so I had to stop. And it was perfect because Allan here helped me make some more soil. Now I have some soil to make my pot finished and plant my cuttings. So what I'm gonna do now is just finish up with this pot here and add this permanent soil in. It might be a little bit overkill to be adding into your 1 gallon or 5 gallon pots, but if you know you're gonna keep it in there for a long time, go ahead and just put it in there. But the best use for this is in a bigger pot, like a 20 to 25 gallon, where you know you're gonna put that mother tree out there where it's gonna grow forever. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plant all of these cuttings into my new soil, and then Allan is here. It's gonna educate you guys with a little bit more info on this soil.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about why we follow Gary Matsuoka's philosophy and like what makes it so different. A lot of his philosophy comes around the idea that compost is being overused in the industry and that it's being used incorrectly, and that for soil that we find naturally in sand or in nature, the soil is about 99% silica, which is just sand, decomposed granite, and just rock. That's what we find in nature, and that's what plants naturally thrive in. But in the recent years of the industry, they've figured out that they've only needed to sell plants for 1 to 2 years in nurseries, and they're able to use wood chips in soils to grow plants. But for a permanent soil mixture that we try to use for plants that we grow for like 5, 6, 10 years, like dragon fruits, we need a soil that is permanent. And the difference between that is that this soil doesn't decompose. So when you have soil that has wood chips or compost underneath the soil, that will become anaerobic, which will naturally decompose at a very high rate. And naturally, what do we have down there? Our roots. Like, our roots need to breathe, they need air, and they don't want to decompose. So which is why we're trying our best to avoid putting any compost or material that can decompose in the soil.
That's right, guys. I've had that problem where, you know, all of those matter that can decompose or do decompose, they eventually rot because it's just matter that doesn't should be in underneath all that soil. All of your compost usually have to be on top, and that's why they always recommend you guys to top your fertilizer on top. If you're putting it in there, it doesn't really do anything, right? You want all of that soil to decompose and the nutrients drain into your soil, where all of those nutrients are already available for your roots to start eating and feeding, so that way they can grow big and healthy.
Yep. So we're essentially, what Gary does and what we follow is trying our best to follow what nature does, because nature has proven that she can grow for the thousands of years that she has. So why do anything different in containers? So we're going to follow the same rules, where we put any compost or wood chip manure that we want to use, we put on the top like mulch where it belongs, like in nature. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Now, that's a lot of stuff that I learned today, you guys, and I'm so glad that Allan was here to educate and help me understand soil a little bit more. I didn't know, but you pointed out that nurseries grow plants to sell within 2 years. So it makes sense that they will not use a really good permanent soil, because they're just basically growing it to a point where they can hand it off to you once you buy it. So once you get home, you're still going to need to find a permanent soil, and I think this is a great and affordable way to do all of that, and have something that's going to really keep your plants happy and thriving for as long as you can see. So that was great. This lesson here was awesome. I'm almost finished here potting up all of my cuttings, and just check out how much more soil I have to use. I have lots of cuttings to pot up, and I even have bigger containers that I need to trellis up. So I'm going to be using as much of this as I can today. But if I don't use it all, I might just wrap it up with this tarp, or get a big bin from Home Depot or Costco and put it in there to use when I need to use it. So is there anything else you'd like to add for the people here?
No, this is just pretty much like reiterating that this is just what we do, and this is the soil that we make, but it's not necessarily the best, and we're not claiming that, but it is a lot that what we learn through experience and what works for us, and we hope that it works for you as well.
All right, guys, so if you guys thought this video was helpful and you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you guys have any comments about what we did here today, or any questions about the soil, leave it in the comments below, and me and Allan will get to them as best as we can. And if you guys haven't subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, so that way you guys won't miss a single thing. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Grafting Dragonfruit. Peace.